everybody. We're going to go through the environmental decision-making guided notes. Follow along and fill in your notes as we go through them. Please slow down, pause, speed up, whatever you need to do as we go through. All right, so what is economics? Economics is basically how behavior is affected by the consumption and production of scarce resources. And all sorts of resources are scarce. Water, minerals, coal, oil, animals, topsoil, all of that. It's all scarce. We have a limited supply of it. Supply and demand drive the economics. So supply is the amount of resources that are available. The demand is the number of people that are willing to purchase or use that resource. So let's look at how supply and demand is affects prices. So when supply is high and demand is low, prices are low. Okay, but when supply is low and demand is high, prices are high. Okay, so a good example of this is the oil or gas prices. Gas prices last year went through the roof. We were over close to almost $5 a gallon in many cases because of the war that was taking place. Because of the war that's taking place in Russia and in the Ukraine. A lot of those, there's a lot of gas that we get from Russia, and so because the demand went down because we put a sanction on them, gas prices went up. All right, so how does the economics affect environmental decision making? Economics comes to play into every environmental decision we make. We have to think about the cost of the resource, if it's worth what's being gained. We have to think about the cost of the mining or the production of that resource, what it takes to manufacture that resource. And this process is called, of decision making, is called cost-benefit analysis. This includes, when we do a cost-benefit analysis, we include all of the costs that include supply, labor, time, and environmental impacts. Not all of this is related to money. A lot of this can be related to health costs. If there's pollution that's created, what is the problem with that pollution? How does it impact people? So remember, when we went back to sustainability, we're talking about social impact, we're talking about environmental impact, and we're talking about economic impact. And all of that goes into a cost-benefit analysis. Let's talk about 4 different ecosystem services. There are four services that an ecosystem provides. There's provisioning resources, there's regulating services, there's cultural services, and there's supporting services. Let's go through each one. Provisioning services. Those are goods that humans use directly for the ecosystem. So marine ecosystems provide provisioning services because we eat lobster, we eat fish, we eat all sorts of things like that. Forests provide provisioning services because we use trees. That is a good example. What we use from the ecosystem. Regulating. Basically, this is the ability of the ecosystem to change the air, the water, the soil quality. They provide flood control, they provide disease control. So for example, a wetland improves water quality by holding onto the water and filtering it. A wetland will filter that. It will also provide flood control. So it regulates the air, soil, or water quality. Cultural provisions are basically the amount of materials that we get from the non-material benefits that we get from the ecosystem. For example, recreational services. We can use the streams and the ponds and the lakes for water sports. We can use parks for, soccer and things like that. Okay. Those are cultural ecosystem services. And then the last one is supporting ecosystem services. These provide the necessities to allow ecosystem to function. So forests provide organic matter for decomposers. They provide windbreaks to allow other plants to survive. They provide oxygen in order for water to survive. All ecosystems services must be part of the cost benefit analysis. So for example, if we are covering up or we're filling in a wetland, we have to think about all of the water quality and how that's going to change, or how flooding might change in that ecosystem if we are to fill in that wetland in order to make say a new shopping center, for example. All right, so the economics of supply and demand affect the cost benefit analysis for environmental decision making. Every ecosystem provides services that must be evaluated when making these decisions. Thanks.